Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is Monday, March 20th, 2023, and you're listening to episode 159 of the Can I Say Something podcast. I'm your host, Anna Recluse, with a juicy caboose, Damien. Joining me today is...
Derek.
And the three-time Can I Say Something Oscar pool champion!
Deej!
And...
Andy.
On this episode, the 95th Academy Awards were this past Sunday, and to the surprise of no one, but to the delights of millions worldwide, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once came away with 7 awards, including Best Actress for Michelle Yeoh and Best Fucking Picture. Bow, 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 bow. We'll be discussing all of that and getting into some of what we've been watching, including The Last of Us finale, Poker Face finale, the Ted Lasso Season 3 premiere, and much, much more. Right into the show. Can I Say Something? Podcast at gmail.com, at Bicycle on Twitter. Subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Rate and review it on Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend, family member, or a stranger. What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Doing
Good.
great, man. Champ. I'm a champ.
You're the
Daniel
champ.
Day-Lewis, Meryl
Three-time
Streep,
champ.
Jack Nicholson, and Deej.
It was a technicality.
I know.
It was a technicality.
The heart pick, I picked with my heart, so, you know, I should have picked with my brain, but
Yeah.
I picked with my heart, so.
Yeah, if you go back and
not great.
look at our picks versus what we said we were going to pick on the show, like 3 days before the show, our picks did not line up to what we said we were going to pick.
Mine did, except for for some reason, I think I clicked it was like a hanging Chad Al Gore situation where I was like, I don't remember picking... what did I had Puss in Boots? I was like, I'm pretty sure I picked Pinocchio.
Yeah.
I did the exact same thing. I forget what I picked, but while I was watching, I was 100% sure that I had picked Pinocchio, but apparently I didn't.
You blew my mind when I looked at the
up.
thing and it said I was the only one that picked Pinocchio.
Yeah, because I was like, I said that on the show. I think I talked Dion out of some good picks with my bad picks when we actually recorded.
Yeah, my picks were all over the place.
Or Damien, I convinced.
Yes.
I should say.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I use your guys' show as pretty much 90% of like all Oscar talk.
Yes.
All right. So all my information was being fed from you guys,
Yes.
and the occasional Bill Simmons when he has his stuff on. But yeah, what were you saying, Damien?
well, no, I had everything wrong. If you listen to the show, I had Michelle Yeoh. I had Michelle Yeoh. I said I was going to pick Michelle Yeoh for Back to Asher because I had Kate Blanchett actually picked in the pool itself. I had Turning Red winning Best Animated Feature when it was obvious. It's always obvious after the fact, but I should have just went with Pinocchio because that was obviously. I literally said in the show, it's name recognition, it's name brand, it's brand named Del Toro and Pinocchio, so I should have gone with Pinocchio. Visual effects, I had Top Gun Maverick. I think that went to what did that go to? There,
Avatar.
Visual effects went to Avatar because of course it did.
Obviously,
that movie is 1,000% visual effects. That's
Yes.
when I actually got right.
Yes.
Well, see, this is what I did. Like my recipe for this. Yeah, and Derek
ahead.
said that he used his heart more than his head, and Damien, I think he went with his head more than his heart. But with me, I just went with not like what's being talked about the most. What is like the media saying? Because one of your pods, you said something about shaking babies and kissing hands and stuff like that. You know, like that's like 90% of what Oscars feel like. It's just like. There's recency bias involved, but there's like also that kind of tour that you go around, you watch this movie, and like the more people talk about you, the more the bigger your chances you're going to win, and that's basically what I did. Like the Brendan Fraser stuff, like that was my I know I won, but in my heart I lost because I knew Brendan Fraser was going to win that because of the way everybody was talking about him, like
Yeah,
sorry,
who'd you pick?
I'm choking on something.
Who did you actually pick?
Who did I pick? What was it?
I can go through it. I'll pull it up.
Yeah. Go.
Also, Damien, I was just gonna say, I know I said this before, but you picked some weird category. You like left off one of the screenplays, but not the other. You were like, let's just have most of the above the line Oscars, but just leave one of the screenplay ones off.
Well, yeah, we had to go with 10. We'll talk about this
we'll kick off one of the below the line ones then.
Well, yeah.
I said, how about we do 10? Like I threw it out there as a suggestion, just so we don't have to do because he was like arguing that we should do all of them, and I'm like, well, all those other ones are just kind of like you know who's gonna get those. Like I don't think anyone ever gets those wrong. It's just like those are all chalk picks. Well, to me, they feel don't say no to me because I'm a 3-time champ. Okay, I will never get those wrong.
No, the chalk picks are the ones that are above the line. Those are the best actress, best picture, best director. Those are the ones that are sort of
and screenplay is above the line.
Yeah, so
which you left off half of.
The ones that Dion doesn't want to do are the ones that are up in the air. The ones that are like best documentary, best.
Well, he's still won.
Yeah. All those ones, yeah. I mean, I'm not against adapted screenplay, and I even said we could maybe throw that one in there, and then maybe like best what's that? Music.
Score. Best score.
Best song.
Best song or best score.
Yeah, best score. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, there's room to move. Like, I don't mind moving around for it. Like, we want to do 12, do 12. But doing 21 of where it's like documentary, that's where I was just like, all right, I don't give a shit about the documentaries.
Okay.
Respectfully, I don't give a shit.
There's people that do. There's people that listen.
Yeah, I get it. And that's why I said you can sign up for a pool with your peers at the Big Picture or the Watch or whatever, But that was I just want to go back to what I was saying real quick with the Brendan Fraser thing, but also like the Avatar thing, like the visual effects. Like I wanted to say Top Gun too, but then I'm thinking about it and it's just like they're talking about this underwater scene in Avatar that happened. Well, I mean, most of it is underwater, but there was a special technology that they used for these underwater scenes. And I'm like, all right, well, that's what I'm going to go with because there's a special technology involved with this and people are talking about it. So Avatar is going to win this one. I mean, if you just like watch and listen to what everybody's saying, like the answers kind of just are glaring out at you. And I'm like, that's just my recipe for success. If you guys were wondering, like take your heart, take your brain, put them on the table, and just open your ears.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You had Austin Butler for Elvis. Go ahead, Andy. Yep.
Oh yeah, one of that's. Did you look at like Vegas odds or anything?
Yeah,
and
of course, I always do.
Line them
the stat
up.
Boy.
Okay, you're the stat boy.
Yeah.
How did Vegas do?
That's a good question. Let me pull it up here.
Vegas did pretty well. I mean.
The house always wins.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I think
last year I did basically pick based on Vegas odds and we lost.
So Vegas odds had best
that's
picture.
Good to know.
Vegas odds had best picture, Everything Everywhere, best actor Brendan Fraser, best actress Michelle Yeoh, best director Daniels, best original screenplay Everything Everywhere. So they had those. Best adapted screenplay Women Talking, yes. Ke Huy Quan, supporting actor, yep. Jamie Lee Curtis. Actually, you know what? Hold on. They just have... Okay, so these are just the winners. These are the ones they bet on. These aren't the ones that they said were going to... Okay, so hold on. So, okay, they had Brendan Fraser to win. They had Michelle minus 180 to win. Going down the list now. Okay, yep, they had Women Talking. So they did have Everything Everywhere to win those. Ke Huy Quan to win that. They got that. The one they did not get, Andy, was Angela Bassett. Mm-hmm. They had Angela Bassett winning over Jamie Lee Curtis. That was the one they did not pick. Robbed. Yes, I agree. The one they did not get also was All Quiet for Best Score. They had Babylon, which I also had. Thought that was a great score. They had Natu Natu for song. They got Hairstyling for The Whale. They missed big time on Best Production Design. They had All Quiet in 4th place at plus 900. Babylon won that. But it looks like they got everything else. So, yeah, to answer your question, they got most of them.
That makes me feel good that you said last year you went with Vegas and you sucked. You were terrible. Vegas was terrible because last year I was 21 for 21. Goddammit, I was awesome. I was better than the house. Let's go.
There you go. That's an argument.
You were like,
you're making my argument.
Yeah, you were
21.
Like Coda swish.
It makes my when I get the bigger the number, the better I am.
Yes, the bigger the number, the better you are. That's how that works. So let's move on from that. Congratulations again, 3-time champ. Whoop whoop. Okay, your award is in the mail. Your check is in the mail.
With the thank you. With the Brendan Fraser thing, the other actors, I went with Austin Butler because I really wanted a character actor to win that, just so I could gloat to you about that because I know how much you hate it
I did.
That's why I picked Austin Butler. I picked Austin Butler to gloat over you.
That's a famously bad decision. That's not just me.
Yep.
Look online. People are saying that it was a bad choice to give Rami Malek that award. It just was. Anyways, we'll move on from that. So overall, viewership was up 12% from last year to 18.7 million. I do have the note in here, so you can probably just see it. But for those listening at home, and you guys can answer, you guys can buzz in. What was the highest viewership the Oscars ever had in the history of the 95 years of the Oscars history? What was the highest viewership ever?
The 1998 Oscars Titanic year with 55 million views.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. You got that. Yeah. Yes. It's been a downward trend ever since, unfortunately. So let's go through some of the awards. EEAAO, obviously the big winner of the night. Why is what? Why is it down?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons.
A lot of reasons. We don't need to go into all
I'll
of
give
them
you
right
two
now,
big ones.
Okay,
one, people don't give a shit about the Oscars anymore as much. Two, streaming exists.
Yes.
So just viewership of TV across the board is down.
Yes.
Is it true that the first Oscars was like 10 minutes long?
Yes. Yeah, I was actually let's talk about it later, but in the book Oscar Wars, they talk about that, about how the first Oscars was 10 minutes long because it wasn't televised. I don't even think it was on the radio. A lot less categories, a lot less nominees, a lot less, fanfare and all of that. But yes, that is correct that the first Oscars was 10 minutes long. Yep. So EEAAO was the first movie to win 5 above the title Oscars, meaning they won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, and Best Supporting Actress and Best Supporting Actor. Those 3 right there make it the only movie in history to have won 3 acting awards and also win Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay. A Streetcar Named Desire won 3 acting categories, but it lost Best Picture to An American in Paris. And Network also won 3 Best Acting noms, got Best 3 Acting awards, but lost Best Picture to Rocky. So I thought that was interesting. So it did make history. And in many ways, EEAAO made history last Sunday, which is pretty cool.
That's what I had asked you in text. I was like, how my question about, is it like being the MVP for a losing team when if you win Best Director but your movie's not Best Picture? It's like I was going to for a while I had Spielberg as the guy who was going to get the Oscar for The Fabelmans, but then I'm thinking about it. So I said something along the lines where I'm like, this seems like either EEAAO or EEAAO is going to is going to sweep everything, or it's going to win like 2 or 3 and then just get shunned or get screwed out of the other ones. And then I kind of tipped to the other way. I'm like, all right, yeah, they're going to sweep. They're going to get everything. They're going to get all the awards.
Yeah, there was a moment when it looked like All Quiet was surging because they were winning stuff they were not, as Dion said, they were not supposed to win. And you're like, wait a minute. Is All Quiet having a moment? They had the BAFTA. Is this going to happen? Please no.
Yeah, well, even Cate Blanchett, she was getting some shine about for Tar, or right? It was Tar.
Yeah.
Or the Best Actress, she was climbing the board a little bit, and then in supporting actress, the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie were going against each other. All right, well, neither of those guys are going to win, and it's going to be Angela Bassett. That was another one where I went Bassett. I didn't think Curtis was going to get it, but because they split that vote. But yeah, so they pretty much swept it. It was good.
Yes, they did. They won 7 overall, 5 above the title Oscars. Very good night for EEAAO. So let's get into some moments. We'll skip the questions till later. Talk about some weird moments. Jimmy Kimmel hosted. What do we think about Jimmy Kimmel as host, Derek?
He's a great host.
Pretty good host, right?
I mean, he's got his own show,
Yeah. I mean, he handled, remember how well he handled that whole envelope debacle.
Yes. Do you think he made enough jokes? Were the jokes about the slap? How did they hit you, so to speak?
They hit me like I was standing on the stage and my name was Chris Rock. They were very effective. You could hear it from the back.
Very effective, yes.
Keep my world, man.
Yeah, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. Still a crazy moment. Some weird jokes. He was like, "Hey, Spielberg, your mother was a whore," right? That's basically what he said. He was like, "You made this movie." Yes, he did. He did. He said he made a movie about your mother cheating on your father. That's weird.
I thought you were doing the Sean Connery thing, or the Jeopardy.
Spielberg, your mother was a whore. Isn't that essentially the joke?
Damien, you're having your own Will Smith moment right now. He's just he's like, he's just saying what was in the movie, and then you're just like, keep Spielberg's mother's name out your fucking mouth.
What was the joke? Wasn't the joke essentially that you made a movie?
He said he made a movie about how he said it was weird that you made a movie about seeing that your mom cheated on your dad with a childhood friend, which is literally what happened in the movie.
Yes. So he's okay. Anyway, he said he smoked a lot of hashish when he made E.T. That got a laugh out of some people. He said Seth Rogen and Steven Spielberg are the Joe and Hunter Biden of Hollywood, which I thought was. Okay, I get it, sort of, since Seth Rogen does drugs and Spielberg is old. I guess that's the analogy there.
Yes.
Do they look alike, like father-son kind of thing, or
I don't know.
You know who Hunter Biden looks like? The guy that plays Negan in Walking Dead. You ever see those pictures of him?
A little bit, I guess, if you squint hard and shut off all the lights.
Well, there's like this one that he's like looking down at the camera's like under it. It's like when you take a selfie, and it's like the worst way you take a selfie. He kind of looks like Negan. I'll show you sometime. I'll send you the picture. Right. I'll find it. But.
Let's any other big any other moments you guys noticed from the Oscars want to mention here?
I mean, it was a pretty by the books, just clean Oscars. So, nothing. That's the thing. It was just kind of about the awards, which was nice.
Is good. That's what it should be about, right? It should be kind of boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think, Andy? Too boring?
Yeah. I miss Ricky Gervais.
You want some domestic violence? What's some domestic violence? Yeah.
You mean you're talking about Will Smith?
Yes.
And Chris, that thing?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought Jimmy Kimmel did a pretty good job handling that. He only made like one joke about it, maybe two.
Well, we made an elaborate
and that was
joke.
Good.
Made an elaborate joke about like if you want to come up here and hit me, you have to go through, Creed and Spider-Man and all these other people, right? So yeah, he did it. He had to reference it a few times. Yeah. So you like Ricky Gervais. He's not my favorite guy. I feel like, he's a guy that works in Hollywood, but also is like Hollywood's kind of fucking stupid. It's like, buddy, you're making your money off of the thing you're making fun of. So at some point, you probably got some Weinstein money in there. I don't know, man. At some point, because of some cross collaboration, you probably got some dirty money from some people. So I wouldn't shit on everybody all the time. Everything, everywhere. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Kimmel was pretty good. I think they do need a host. I know they went a couple years without a host. I think this proves that you do need somebody in that seat to sort of move things along, set things up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Having a host is a good call.
Very good call. Yes, I says. Any big surprises in terms of awards that people got that you thought, oh shit, I didn't see that coming?
I was honestly surprised that The Fabelmans didn't win Best Picture just because Hollywood loves Hollywood. Like I had Fabelmans locked in for that mantra in and of itself.
Yeah, true, but you got to look at what the movie has already won. It won a bunch of DGA and PGAs and all the GAs previously, and they just had the momentum. All the actors had the momentum, and the directors had the momentum. Yeah, unfortunately, this was like Spielberg coming in here was just like I don't know, whoever, the Spurs.
Everything Everywhere just proved to be too immensely popular.
Yeah.
To not get it.
I think, Andy, like if you go like a couple months ago, the beginning of the year before award season, it's like, oh yeah, Fabelmans is clearly like the front runner. And then once things start happening, like if you had asked me like right after I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, you'd be like, do you think that movie's going to be Best Picture? I would be like, no, there's not a chance in hell. But after seeing it like win the Golden Globes or I guess it didn't win the Globe, but like win all these, like Dion was saying, or Damon was saying, just like the DGAs and the PGAs and every other thing, it's like, okay, like I can see, what that this is gonna. I even changed my pick to that one because I was like, everybody, it's just cleaning up on everything. I mean, there was a couple surprises, like I said, the All Quiet got a couple surprises. I think it was surprising just that Everything Everywhere just won everything it had a chance to win. Yeah. I was like really thinking Angela Bassett had a good shot, and I was really thinking that Banshees had a good shot at Best Screenplay, but it just kind of closed everything out to the point where there was a bunch of nominees that had like 8 or 9 nominations that came home with no wins because it just took home everything. And that's my only real bummer about it doing so well, is that there was just no love to go around for any other of the great movies that came out this year.
Yeah. If we had done sound, I remember the year we did. I think I mentioned that when Ford versus Ferrari was nominated, I was like, the Vroom Vrooms are going to get it, and they did. And it was like, it's just Vroom Vrooms. That's all it is. It's just a car going Vroom Vroom. I was like, people like Vroom Vrooms. They like seeing the things go fast. They like hearing them go fast. So Top Gun Maverick did in fact pick up the best sound.
It did get best sound.
Yes,
the Vroom Vrooms.
The Vroom Vrooms won.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't do it. Okay.
Never bet against Vroom Vrooms.
I have a surprise. Rooms, you might be onto something. Honestly, everybody's got to have their thing to stick with. It's like you either you hit on a 12 or you don't hit on a 12, but you got to make a choice and you got to stick with it. Yes. My biggest surprise, I'd say, was the fact that that the vote was split and yet still Curtis won. And and additionally, on the whole season of everything that EEAAO had, all the talk about it, that Stephanie Hsu basically just was like an afterthought. Her character in that movie was kind of so important, and nobody was talking about her. I thought she was a very interesting character. You probably have a better analysis than I do, but the fact that she didn't win anything was in any awards.
You're correct that the character was more important, but then you got to look at Jamie Lee Curtis being however old she is, how legendary status. It's like, okay, Stephanie Hsu, you're good in that movie, but you're still young, still got to pay your dues. This is
right.
Jamie,
you got time still. I don't know. I think that's kind of weak too.
I hate that so much. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. My recipe for
saying.
That's exactly. That's exactly what I said. That's verbatim what I said.
It's almost the equivalent of the Old Boys Club kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like you don't give Pacino his Oscar when he's young, so then he has to get it for him doing a ridiculous character of himself in Scent of a Woman, so that denies a young Denzel his, and so then they have to give Denzel it for when he's doing a character of himself, 15 years later, and he denies someone else it, and then he just keeps pushing it back along, so nobody gets it what they deserve it for.
Yeah, they always give the award for the movie or performance that they didn't really, quote unquote, deserve it for. Scorsese got it for Departed, right? When he made so many better movies before that, right?
I do love The Departed, though, I will say.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Yeah.
But he should have won it for Goodfellas, though.
Yeah, obviously. So A24, the production company, won 9 awards, 7 for Everything Everywhere and 2 for The Whale. Whale got Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Actor. I guess this is a question for Derek, but y'all can chime in here. Yeah. How does the A24ification of Hollywood compare to other changes in the past? See changes in the past, like the new Hollywood brought in new fresh faces, new sort of types of movies that we really haven't seen before. 90s craze did a similar thing. How do you think the A24ification compares to those two other moments in Hollywood?
Well, I think it's a moment in Oscars more than it's a moment in Hollywood, and because you do see the Oscars go through these cycles where, in the last 10 or 15 years, it was a lot of these small budget indie movies and kind of Weinstein effects of just pushing those kind of movies forward. The 10 years before that, it was a lot of these bigger budget movies, like you said, Titanic, Gladiator, stuff like that. And then a lot of the epics. Before that, it was the new Hollywood. Then you go back all the way to the beginning. There was a lot of garbage movies winning because they had a lot of song and dance in them. And that was right when sound was new. So it kind of goes in these cycles. And I think we're going to right now starting to enter a new cycle that is going to be these much more interesting, diverse films from these mid-budget studios like A24. I think Blumhouse will probably get in there. Hopefully this means that genre will have a lasting effect on the Oscars, because genre films have been historically shut out of winning Best Picture. This is only the 3rd time it's happened. It only ever happened recently before this, and I think this is where it started to change a little bit with Shape of Water and then Return of the King. So even Return of the King is relatively recent in Oscar history. And so now this movie that has science fiction has never won, and all these trans-dimensional things and weirdness and butt plug awards. It's like that is winning Best Picture, and that is so cool. And I think that maybe even we'll see some horror movies win Best Picture in the next 5 or so years. I think that's really where the Academy is going, is that it's finally opening up to genre films, and I hope that this is going to keep the mid-budget movie alive, because it has been dying a slow death for the past 10 years, and only A24 and Netflix and the other streamers, which, by the way, Netflix also, with All Quiet, was the only other studio that did well at all the Oscars. Yeah. Those studios are going to keep the mid-budget movies alive, especially if there's this prestige behind it. So I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah. What do y'all guys think about that?
Andy?
Yep. Agreed. Seconded.
Yeah, no, I'm all in. Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I agree with you. Yeah, you said it very eloquently. I'm trying to hold on to this question that I want to ask, but
okay.
That's why I didn't
we'll go on to that one next. But yeah, the genre movies, specifically horror, that have been nominated for Best Picture were The Exorcist, Jaws, Silence of the Lambs, Sixth Sense, Black Swan, and Get Out. And I believe there's another one you mentioned in there that was genre as well. So those are the ones that have been nominated. And like you said, it's hopefully will bring more of that stuff in there. We'll give the Academy precedence to be like, okay, hey guys, we nominated a movie with butt plugs and hot dog fingers, a couple of years ago. So how about we nominate this other movie now, because there is precedent for it.
Maybe we can give Toni Collette her freaking nomination now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does bode well, but it also, the whole Nope shutout is also kind of, disparaging to see that, right? Because that was genre. That was one of the best genre movies from last year. Made a lot of money, too. Do you think they should insert a category that is essentially best blockbuster?
No, absolutely not. That's a horrible fucking idea, Damien.
Why is that?
Because then it's the same thing that happens with animation, and where it's like, oh, well, we have a whole... They tried to do this. Do you remember? They tried to do Best Blockbuster, and then everyone was like, we all hate this. Right. And it's just like, oh, well, you guys don't get the big awards. You'll just get this other category. And if you had done that this year, then Avatar, Top Gun, and Elvis would not have been nominated, because those were all big blockbuster movies. But they need to be recognized, maybe not Elvis, but they need to be recognized just as much as the other nominees, because they're just as deserving of the actual Best Picture, not the MTV Movie Award big blockbuster cheer moment, the Flash enters the Speed Force bullshit.
That's a good point. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's true. Like, it cheapens it, and it makes it easier for like them to group. It's just like, all right, well, here's a consolation prize. We'll put you in this bracket or something like that. That's what it does feel like.
Yes, indeed. Deanna, what was the question you had teed up?
Oh yeah, I just want to know, like, feel good moment. What was your favorite feel good moment from the Oscars, and why was it Brendan Fraser?
Every award EEAAO got. Jamie Lee gave a great speech. Kihi obviously gave a great speech. Daniels gave a great speech. I love how many people mentioned their mothers in their speech. I wrote a blog post the other day about seeing EEAAO with my mom. Really emotional moments. Really, I forget the word. What did you say? Happiest or best heartfelt?
Feel
moment?
good.
Best cheer moments.
Best cheer. Yeah. What's the award for best cheer moment? Yeah, definitely EEAAO. Love seeing Ke Huy Quan go up there to hug and celebrate with Harrison Ford, who presented Best Picture. That was probably the moment of the night, right there. So yeah, that
was cool.
Yes.
Derek, you got one?
I mean, I was gonna say the Harrison Ford thing, because that was such a cool moment. Obviously I grew up watching all the Indiana Jones movies, and I saw a couple edits where somebody did on like Twitter or something, and it was just like it's the scene from Temple of Doom where Short Round hugs Indy, and he goes, "Indy, you're my friend," and then it like cut to the award ceremony, because he just runs up there and just gives him this big ol' hug and kisses on the cheek, and you're like, God, these guys, like, it's so good. They're so happy to see each other, and Harrison Ford is so happy for his old friend. It really warmed your heart,
Yeah. Yep.
Andy?
Great moment.
Yep,
Andy
exactly.
Got one? Yeah, that.
Yep, we took all the good ones.
Mine didn't actually happen like on the stage, but there was like this backstage moment with Brendan Fraser and what was his name? I'm sorry. Ke Huy Quan.
Short round.
Yeah, short round. Well, like Data, but like they were both in Encino Man, right? So you had Brandon Fraser back there, and he's and Ke Huy Quan came up behind Fraser and was like sneaking up on him, and then like Fraser was kind of just like, who'd have thought, and he starts crying, and like it was just like old friends. They're just like, you got the cast of like Encino Man just sitting right here, like winning Oscars, like, and this is Brendan Fraser who's basically blackballed from the acting community because of all his allegations that the sexual assault and everything that he's experienced in his life. So just to see like him finally get his due for like moving past that, I thought that was pretty incredible. Yes. And not to take anything away from like the EEAAO and the Asian cast winning and everything like that. That was awesome to see all that. But my moment was with Brendan Fraser. I really thought that was cool that he finally was kind of able to shake that monkey that was on his back. He even said something like really sad too, like when he was talking to Ke Huy Quan and then the interviewer. It was just like like. Sometimes the phone just stops ringing, and you don't get the calls anymore to be in these things. So when I got the call to be in The Whale and he got the call to be in Everything Everywhere All at Once, like we had something that we could just throw 100% of ourselves into because you don't know if there's going to be a next time after that. That was just
don't
really
cry
poignant,
about it, man.
Man, I'm telling you.
It's okay. I get it, man.
All right. Yes, so I think
awesome stuff. Go ahead.
That'll do it for Oscars coverage 2023. Unless anybody else got anything else to add.
When is my boy Colin gonna get one? That's all I gotta add. Colin.
What's he gotta do?
What's Colin gotta do? He was in 4 movies this year. They were all bangers.
Yeah. They're all bangers. Yes, exactly.
Don't cry about it. Come on.
No, I'm glad. I'm just glad it was. I'm just glad it was Fraser. I was gonna be happy either way. If it would have been Butler, I would have been like, look. Seems like a nice kid, but
come on,
like, just come on, Ron. We gotta let that one go.
If Colin Farrell won, then you wouldn't have had your feel good moment. So
no, because they still would have won Best Picture.
Well, maybe, yeah, maybe.
Do have a question I forgot to ask you guys. There was an interesting trivia piece of information that I learned on TikTok the other day. What actors have appeared in 3 Best Picture nominees in 1 year? They are pretty recent. I think Dion should know one of the guys because we watched 2 of his. I know you've watched 2 of these movies that he was in. The first one was in 2018. Andy might know this. Derek should know this. It's in 2018, so it was for movies from 2017. One of
Bradley
them
Cooper?
was. Nope. He's a character actor. He was in.
Mark Rylance?
Nope. Not as old as Mark Rylance.
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Nope. No, he's a supporting actor. Daniel Day-Lewis is not a character actor. How dare you?
He also does like one movie every 5 years.
He played Lincoln.
That's not it. Yes, I understand, but that was 2012. 2018 Oscar nominations for movies from 2017. One of them, I think Derek mentioned, it was a movie nominated for Best Picture that was technically sci-fi. It was a genre movie. It was about a fish man.
Okay, what's his name? Michael Shannon?
Nope, Michael Stuhlbarg. Michael Stuhlbarg was in Shape of Water.
That guy.
He was also in Call Me By Your Name.
I forgot he was in that.
He was in Call Me By Your Name. He was the father in Call Me By Your Name and The Post. He was also in The Post that year, which were all 3 were nominated for Best Picture in 2018. Second guy.
I literally don't even remember the names of any of those.
Okay,
so I don't
great.
know why you thought I might get that.
Okay, great. Thank you for that input.
Carrie might have gotten that.
Yes, she might have.
She likes that guy. Carrie might have gotten that.
Yeah, be interesting to see if she listens and can get that. Second guy was in 2003. He's a funny guy. He's known as a funny actor, but he also does character work, does serious character work.
John C. Reilly.
Yes. You know the movies he was in, nominated for 2003, so movies that came out in 2002.
Gangs in New York is one of the... wait, no, it would be 2001 or 2002 that these came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you got Gangs in New York.
Gangs in New York. Then there was a comedy in there. I don't know. That's the only one I know off the top of my head. It was a movie you watched
recently for our Letterboxd
assignment.
Chicago! He was in that.
Chicago!
And also, the third movie he was in that was nominated for Best Picture starred 3 A-list actresses. Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman. And
The Hours?
The Hours, yep.
Yeah, that's even more impressive because there's only 5 nominees back then.
The guy mentioned that was more impressive than Michael Stuhlbarg's achievement because they only had 5 nominations.
3 out of 5 is much better than 3 out of 10, if my math is correct.
It's literally, yes. Your math is correct, and that is correct, yep. All right, so moving on from the Oscars, going into what we have been watching the last couple of weeks. I finished Poker Face. I assume you did as well.
Yes, I did.
You did, yes, you did. This is pretty good. I liked it. It was 10 episodes, released on, what was this, on Hulu? Obviously, Peacock, yes, of course, the one I had to sign up for to watch the show. Weird like presentation because I was like, okay, this show's on Peacock, but it also had commercial breaks. I was like, what the fuck? Why is there fade outs? Because apparently people can have, if you have the free tier,
I have the cheap Peacock, so I have to watch those trailers or commercials, whatever they're called.
But is this the only show that you've seen that has commercial breaks that premiered on a streaming service?
No, Hulu does it all the time.
Do they? Maybe
Hulu's the same way.
You have the poor version. You have the poor version.
Yeah,
of Hulu, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I have regular Hulu, so I don't see commercial breaks. Do they insert it like? Is it organic? Does it like cut in the middle of a scene, or how do they do it?
They'll do it. Yeah, they have them formatted for that, like just like you were saying. For movies, usually they'll just have one commercial or a bunch of commercials at the beginning, and then for shows, they'll split them up at the commercial breaks where they would normally fall.
I guess I haven't watched any TV shows on Hulu that like debuted for Hulu. Like I watched The Dropout on there, but I guess that wasn't technically for them. So it was just interesting because I was like, wait, there's commercial breaks, but also they're saying fucking shit like every other every other sentence. So it's weird. I thought maybe it premiered on broadcast TV, but I guess not. Anyways, written directed by Rian Johnson. He directed the first 2, it looks like, and maybe the last one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, just the first 2 and the second to last one, Escape from Ship Mountain. He directed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is very good overall. Very, very good. I like the return to that sort of story of the week format, murder of the week format. Like you said, it was not a whodunit, but how do they do it? How do they figure out it?
How catch them?
How catch them? Thank you. That was the phrase. I want to emphasize. Did like it overall, but I do think it sagged in the middle. I think Exit Stage Death and The Future of the Sport. I think they ended in a way where it was like, so did they get caught? Are they going to jail?
I love the end of Exit Stage Death. Future of the Sport is probably the weak episode, but I really love the ending of the Exit Stage Death. But yeah,
they were good. Overall they were good, but was kind of fused by the ending of them. Let's see. So yeah, if you guys, Deanna and Andy, if you want to like mute or you're not going to watch this, we're gonna be talking full spoilers for Poker Face right now. Yeah, Andy already muted. I don't know if he muted his mic or his audio. What'd you mute over there, bud?
Yeah, my audio or my mic.
Okay, all right. So I had to spend a lot of disbelief for Escape from Ship Mountain, the ending of that, because Joseph Gordon-Levitt he like stabs her one time, then she clearly is not dead, but he just buries her like she's dead in that little tree trunk thing, which was kind of weird.
She should have been dead. That's where I had to suspend not that he didn't stab her enough times, but I'm just like, how are you alive? You got hit by a car and stabbed and like bludgeoned and like every other thing. That's where I kind of was like suspending my disbelief. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt was a fucking idiot in that whole episode anyway. So,
what do you think about them inserting this like overall mythology, this world building of her and her sister and her family? Do you think the series should have waited until season 2 to do that, or did that work for you?
No, that worked for me. It was the end of the season. They gave us like, oh, here's some of her past. They didn't overdo it. They were just kind of hinting at like, oh, what happened with Dad. They don't really go over explicitly anything, but it's clear that she has this past that she's run away from, and she has to kind of reckon with it a little bit there at the end. And I thought that was a cool kind of moment, and I like that. I'm forgetting her name, but it's a frequent collaborator of Natasha Lyonne going all the way back to But I'm a Cheerleader. So it was really cool to see them playing sisters. Thank you, yeah. So yeah, that worked for me a lot. And then it hints there's that whole thing of she's really been absent with her family because she doesn't even know her niece's name. So yeah, I dug all of that. It was like those last 3 episodes. They're all good episodes, like we're saying, but those last 3, I think people might have them in different orders, but everyone can agree that it ended strong. It ended on those last 3 are definitely the best episodes of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I really liked Time of the Monkey, the one with the 70s radicals. Irene and Joyce at the Mossy Oaks retirement home. That was great. Great episode.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wrestling Metal was very good. That episode had one of my favorite not the band's not new, but I've come to them recently. The Mountain Goats. I believe his name is John Darnelli of the Mountain Goats. Yeah, I could tell right away when he started singing. I was like, wait, that's Mountain Goats. Holy shit. I guess Ryan Johnson's been a huge fan of them, like way back since like 2000. He was like he subscribed to like fanzine in the 2000s and went to a small show back then. So they've been friends for like 20 years, which is pretty cool. I also had John Hodgman, which I love seeing John Hodgman pop up in random things.
Yeah.
And,
speaking of which, great guest actors in every episode. It was just like, oh, here's Nick Nolte playing Phil Tippett, essentially, and like just all these great. Some of them big name character actors, some are just like great character actors that you're like, oh, I've seen her before. Wasn't she Matt Damon's mom in Ocean's 12? She's great, stuff like that.
Yeah, Ellen Barkin was in Tim Meadows in Exit Stage Death.
Yes.
Jamil was always great, popping up and stuff from The Good Place. Tim Blake Nelson was great in The Future of the Sport. Let's see, Cherry Jones, like you said, Nick Nolte, Luis Guzman's always fun to see pop up with things.
Oh my God, yes. Zapata, I still call him Zapata from Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more of Stephanie Hsu in Escape from Ship Mountain, but she was good in that, in the parts that she was in. Yeah, very good. And, overarching character in Simon Helberg playing the FBI agent in The Hook in the first episode. Or no, he was in
The Time of the Monkey.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he first popped up in there. So pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
And then you got the recurring character of Benjamin Bratt's character. That was great to see. And then Ron Perlman just with that early voice cameo. Just it's like, I'm gonna find you, Charlie. I'm gonna get you. And then he comes back in the last episode, and yeah.
Isn't there for too long? Spoiler for his character, but isn't in this show for too long. But it's nice to see him. Yeah, great show overall. Can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well done. All done. All right, what else we got? So you got to mute your mic or your headphones for. Yeah. Deanna, you there, bud?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so we're gonna switch over to you. You and me talking Last of Us season.
Let's go.
Yeah. You saw the whole thing?
Yeah. Yep.
You saw the whole thing?
Saw the whole thing.
Okay, have you played the game?
Yep.
First question.
I have not played the game, but I've heard enough about the game where I feel like I have played the game.
Yeah, I haven't played it either, but I know the story of the first game. I know the story of the second game, so nothing too spoiler. I won't spoil, book 2, game 2. I will not spoil book. God damn it! I won't spoil game 2 for you or anybody
season
listening.
2. Game 2, season 2,
or season 2, or any of that stuff. We'll just talk season 1. Spoilers for season 1 of Last of Us starting right now. What do you think of the season overall?
I thought it was a strong season. I think they were right, though, saying that the best episode, it peaked at like episode 3 and then kind of dwindled down. There were a couple episodes that it was just like, all right, this really kind of feels like it's dragging. You felt like the no action. I felt like there could have been a little bit more infected. I understand that with like these zombie shows and everything, Last of Us particularly is one of them where it's not so much about the infected. That's not the story. It's about the people, the remaining, the last of them. So I understand that, but I thought maybe there were a couple times where they could have benefited from maybe more than just one kind of hanging around. But I also understand what goes into the makeup and everything. Because I mean the way the infected looked, it was pretty awesome. But story wise, I thought it was good. I thought the acting was solid. I thought Bella Ramsey killed it. She plays this like this brooding psychopath really well. But like towards the end, you still saw the child in her, where it was just like everybody was taken from her, and she played her character really well. Joel, Pedro Pascal played his role very well. The closed guy, his daughter dying, and close himself off. It's like, nope, you can't hurt me anymore. And then by the end of it, it's just like, I'm ready to be hurt again. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good watch.
Yeah,
what about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it overall. Can't wait for season 2.
Yep.
Pedro Pascal is one of these guys that we saw early on in Game of Thrones, and then he does some, a lot of funny roles. He was in Narcos, which I had never watched. He was in a movie called Triple Frontier, which was, a heist movie with him and Ben Affleck and some other people in it. So I've seen him do some serious-ish roles before, but overall he's been sort of a, that guy bringing it for the comedy effect. So it was interesting seeing him doing the serious stuff pretty much all the time. I think it was a little rushed by the end. I think the major consensus is it seemed rushed by the end. I think I do like all of those side tracks that we took to other people's experiences and other people's stories, and sort of the side characters to that sort of mirrored Joel and Ellie's story. But I would have kept those in there, but also had the season be maybe 11, 12 episodes long. I think we needed more runway for those stories, for Joel and Ellie's story to hit harder. I think there was stuff they left out of the show from the game. I think the last episode, one of the shortest of the season. I think maybe give the last episode, if you don't want to do more episodes, at least give the last episode more time to breathe there. So let's just talk about it. Let me ask you about Joel's decision at the end. Ellie's taken in, basically kidnapped, knocked out, strapped to a gurney, and forced to. They're going to take out her brain and sort of experiment on it. Again, talking about the consensus. The consensus is that the Fireflies really, even if there was a cure, even if it was a way to use Ellie's blood to make a vaccine. They explained right away from the jump, from the start of the show, they explained that there is no cure. It's a fucking fungus. It's a whatever the name of the thing is. There's no cure for it that we have. So I find it highly unlikely that a ragtag group of vigilantes that had a med school degree 20 years ago are going to be able to concoct a vaccine that the world scientists the world over couldn't come up with back 20 years ago when we had all this other technology to actually do that. So in my mind, there was no cure. There was no chance of her being able to cure anybody. So I'm on Joel's side of him just busting in there, killing everybody and grabbing her. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't consider the fact that maybe there actually is no vaccine or cure for anything. Cordyceps. I think that was the word you're looking for. But that's one way to look at it. And when you say it like that, it makes a lot of sense. I would say that by the end of the show, Joel had turned that corner though to finally open his heart again. Like when he in the episode prior, when he was holding her, he was saying like baby girl, like the same thing he would say to his daughter. I think he opened up to being that father figure, especially after Bella Ramsey or Ellie giving him the what for, like saying like, don't say I'd be better off with anybody else because that's only going to make me more scared. I want to be with you. That whole speech that she had done.
Yeah.
I think like, I don't think he was thinking like that. I think he was like, we just got our shit together and I'm going to, like, I almost died. She saved my ass.
Yeah.
And we need each other, like it's a dependent relationship now. So I don't think he was thinking anything like, oh, cure this, cure that. Like, I think they was just looking out for her. He was looking out for himself too. Like he was closed off the whole time. If this was 3 episodes ago, he would have been like, all right, I did what I had to do. It is what it is, like whatever. But now it's just like, it's his daughter now. So You're not going to just let your daughter get dissected and maybe get a cure. Like, you're just going to kill everybody in the hospital, take her back. Because if you found out someone was going to kill my daughter in the hospital, everybody's going to kill
everybody's dead. Yep.
My daughter in the hospital. So everybody dies.
Yep.
So yeah, I see that. But I think it was just that he opened up his heart finally the armor fell off and he was just like, all right, like, I love you. I gotta save you.
Yeah. I mean, because
but that is interesting. Yep.
The pivot point was always like, well, if there was a cure, did he make the right decision? But I don't think, first of all, I don't think it really matters if there was a cure or not. I don't think it really matters if the cure would have worked. Let's take it to the extreme. If they made a cure, would they be able to mass produce it and to distribute it? And would they? You know, they're like I said, ragtag group of vigilantes. Maybe some people are calling terrorists. Would they distribute? Would Fedra distribute a cure? Would they be able to, even if they wanted to? So all of the questions surrounding: was there a vaccine? Was it viable? Was it producible? Was it distributable? All of that goes to the window because I don't think it was even a chance of them making it in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. I mean, you got this abandoned hospital that's staffed by 12 people. Yeah. Like, there's no chance.
No.
And you got one doctor and 3 attendants, you know, like, yeah, you're not going to mass produce anything. The idea maybe, like, you put the vaccine in somebody. Yeah. And, like, one by one, you make each one of these people immune. That's a community that these people don't, or the cordyceps infected people don't attack because they now think that they're one of us. But again, it's a show about a fungus, you know, that met these certain conditions to take over like their hosts and everything. It's just it's a fungus that wants to spread. It's not trying to kill anyone, but it wants to spread out so basically I'm saying is that even if they did find a cure for it, I feel like you always risk that mutation. Yeah. You know, like with COVID. You know, like you put a vaccine, you get half measures and stuff. It overcame, and now you got a different strain of COVID. You're gonna get a different strain of fungus. Like, really, they're all screwed. So yeah, I'm with you that Joel, even if he thought that there was a lost cause, like, or even if it wasn't like he was trying to save her because he now views her as a daughter, like if he had the mindset, it's like, yeah, a cure is not going to do anything. I can get on board with that.
Right. One more question before we go to something else. Joel or Ellie asked him, you know, was everything you said to me about what happened back there true? And she's like, swear to me that everything you said was true. And he says, I swear. And she gives a very ambiguous, like, okay. What did that okay mean to you?
She knows he's lying.
Right.
She wants to believe that he's not lying. I mean, you could tell in the conversations they were having too. Like there was like a trust that Ellie had been through some shit. And then I think like her world kind of opened up to her. After she fought the guy off, she hatcheted that dude to death. She's seeing the veil's being dropped. I mean, I know she's seen some shit before, but it was always kind of like not happening to her. It was happening around her. Now this happened to her, and now like she was insisting that, you know, she had to get closer to Joel. But I think once she saw like that armor fall off of Joel, she had like this look on her face the whole time. Like now he's comparing her to his daughter, or he's saying like, oh yeah, my daughter would have liked you, stuff like that. And she had like this look on her face like, uh-oh, I feel like this is kind of gone too far. Like she looks up to him like a father figure, but I don't know. It just felt like the dynamic kind of shifted after that. So when you could almost say like Joel, like he did the right thing, but for maybe the wrong reason. Like it was a very hypocritical thing. He was giving that woman shit. Like you didn't give her a choice, but also when he rescued her and just lied to her, he's not giving her a choice in the matter either.
Right.
He's doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. And I think this opens, like, what could be worse than a closed off Joel that kills everybody? When Joel actually cares about somebody, I think he's even more dangerous. And I don't want to call him a bad guy, but I could see him kind of leaning, like drifting off to like, I will do anything to protect you, even if it means like slaughtering anybody. You know, it's almost like now that love is an element in it, he's actually more dangerous. So yeah, I think she realizes that. So that's where I don't believe you. Yeah. But I don't want to push it because you kind of look a little unstable right now. You're a little unhinged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great show. Can't wait to watch season 2. Ted Lasso, obviously. Let's talk Ted Lasso, since I think most of us have seen this, correct?
I have watched Ted Lasso,
yes. Ted Lasso, yes. Andrew?
I don't think Andy has.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. Definitely have seen Ted Lasso.
Okay, so you haven't. Okay. So Ted Lasso premiered this week. Season 3 is back. So it's full on. This is going to be the last season, they said. They announced that before the premiere. Season 3 will be the last one. So I wrote in the notes here, this is very much a Patrick versus Calm sort of scenario here, where you have Nate being the guy that's like, fuck niceness. Nobody remembers niceness. Nobody remembers... Who remembers niceness? They remember the songs. They remember the stories. Nobody's remembered for being nice. So that's the route he's taken. And Ted Lasso's Patrick's, and he's like, no, actually, I'm gonna talk shit about myself at this press conference. I'm gonna do a judo move.
Self-deprecate.
Yeah, I'm gonna self-deprecate. That was what I was thinking of. The self-deprecate, do like a judo flip because Nate in this show, in this episode, I don't know if he put it out there or somebody proliferated a image of them going down to the sewers. And then he makes a joke about, yeah, of course they did, because they're fucking shit. So then Ted had to respond at the next press conference, and he did so in his own Ted way, which I thought was interesting. So yeah, very, very good premiere in my eyes. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no.
I liked it.
No, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. All right, I'll go ahead. I liked it. So... I will say that like the kids they introduced into the show, they I don't know, those kind of fell flat, and they're kids. I get it, kids actor, but there was part of it where it was just like, all right, this kind of feels cliche, these kids dropping these, like his son, he was visiting with his son, and his son's like dropping these truth bombs, and even Roy's niece was dropping truth bombs later on them in the relationship.
They didn't talk like kids.
All the acting, like
they didn't talk like kids. I was watching that. I was watching that.
Yeah, they didn't talk like kids. Yeah. A lot of the dialogue, it felt weird. It didn't feel like the other two seasons where it felt like natural and everything. There was like a lot of people, like the way Rebecca was talking, or even Ted's quips, they kind of seemed like forced. I don't know. And I understand, like, you can tell that the direction these characters got to go. I think the theme of this season is going to be like letting go. Like Ted obviously has a ton of anger in him from like his dad committing suicide, and like obviously the anxiety. Like there's a lot of stuff that he has to resolve. And now that Rupert's got his own team, Rebecca, she's on Ted's ass because she needs to win. She needs to like kind of let go of like the hold that Rupert has on her, things like that. Like Keeley, like she's got to let go of like being like this big business mogul and everything like that. But like the way they were like saying the things, like you're saying, it kind of came off forced. There were some, I can see the season opening up more. I felt a little let down by first episode. It almost felt like exposition dump too. Like, yeah. I have to explain why my kid's here now. I have to explain now that the other coach. What's the other coach's name?
Coach Beard.
No. The one that's with
Nate.
With Rupert.
Nate.
Forgot his name. Nate
the Great.
Nate. All my homies hate Nate. Nate the Great. Yeah. Like I gotta explain that. I'm losing my train of thought, guys.
And explain why he's the way he is. You know, he wants.
Yeah.
Nate wants acceptance, and he wants to be loved, and he wants attention, and he's getting it the way he wants to. He doesn't care. He doesn't care the way he.
Yeah, that social media thing too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Being a hound for that social media, I think it's going to play to a lot of things. I think this is going to be like a thing that plays in a lot of psychological part of this season too, like the effect that social media has on people, impressionable minds, and just like you can tell, like the therapist, she got with somebody, so like she's working through her own. Everybody's going to be working through something. So I got high hopes for it. Not to say that that this episode wasn't funny at all. It still had a lot of good parts to it.
No, I got you. Derek, what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It's just the first episode of the season, so it's a lot of setups, a lot of let's see where it'll go. Obviously, it's setting up a lot of things like what's going to happen with Nate and Lasso coming together, you know, because that the whole last season's kind of saw them drifting apart, and it's like, yeah, maybe this positivity that Ted has, which is obviously just kind of a way for him to deal with his own grief and sadness, and you saw him go to therapy and deal with that, and then that kind of drove a wedge between him and Ned, and Nate, and like Nate's imposter syndrome, like kind of running rampant, and like him needing that validation on social media, like you were saying. And you know, I'm curious to see what happens with the Keeley and Roy thing, and these are all characters that I really love. I'm glad that they are going to end while it's still on a high note. A lot of shows, especially sitcoms, just run for way, way too long. But yeah, this one, let's see how it goes. I'm really excited to see how it ends, and I think it might be, you know, I hope that, like Ted was saying, that he can win. Like he got back to the premiership, and he can go back and win it all. So I'll be rooting for him, and then maybe just go home and retire and go be with his son or something. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely, you know, you're feeling the sort of, Deanne was saying, sort of feeling the artificiality of the dialogue, starting to get a little old. So I think it is good that they're sort of ending on the third season. I think Bill Lawrence said there was, like, you know, it was mapped out to be 3 seasons. So it's good that they have that sort of template they're working with and sticking with it. So that's good.
You know, a lot of it too could be like sad Ted. Like when we came onto the show, Ted was just like this optimistic motherfucker that just like you could never bring him down. But like he's taken some serious blows. And if Ted's sad, the audience is sad. You know, like I mean that could be what I'm feeling as well. Like at the end of the episode when he found out that his wife, like, who's that guy? Like his son was playing with a Thanos gauntlet. Yeah. And it's like, oh, who gave you that? And it's just, did mom give you that? No, mom's friend. And it's like, oh, who's that? And it's a guy, and he's just like, he had that, like that look in his face. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Ted's gonna choke a bitch.
Yeah.
But like you can see like that brooding thunder. Like even Rebecca was hounding him, like, you have to get mean, you have to get angry, and like Ted's just, then he took the self-deprecating route, and it's just like, maybe that's why I feel the way I do, because Ted's down low, so I feel down low. You know, maybe that's why everything's not landing, but maybe that's intentional. You know?
Yeah, it probably is intentional. You know, like you said, Bill Lawrence wrote Scrubs. You know, every episode wasn't, you know, laugh a joke a minute, whatever. It wasn't always positive. It wasn't
had
always,
a lot of fucking gut punches.
Had a lot of gut punches. That's what he's known for. So I think
a lot of gut punches.
You know, you're seeing this in sort of a compressed. Sort of a compressed version of that, where, you know, Scrub was 6 or 7 seasons. Now this is only 3, so those changes in tone are coming faster and more frequently because they have less time to sort of, you know, do 3 or 4 episodes of good stuff, and then 2 or 3 episodes of, you know, them losing 3 patients in one show or whatever, 1 episode.
1 episode, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the big ones, right? Because they were. Wasn't there one where they were counting down?
That was the big one.
They were counting down the minutes to like when the day would be over, so they didn't lose like 3 people in one day, right?
Yeah, there were 2 episode arcs in Scrubs that were gut punches. One was the Cox losing his 3 patients, and he was being so obsessed with finding a kidney that he found one that was infected with rabies and killed everybody. And then there was the other one with Brendan Fraser.
That's what I was gonna say,
actually, which was his real Oscar performance in my honest opinion. But yeah, that both those that's enough to make grown men cry. Every time I hear the fray, it's just like, oh God.
Yeah, what was the phrase? Are we even here? What are we doing here? Right?
Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend.
Oh, you know, oh, the fray. I thought you said the phrase. The fray. The band.
Yeah.
The fray.
No. The fray. That was a song. Yeah.
Okay. But no, didn't they say something? They were out. They were at the cemetery, right? And they were talking to Brendan Fraser, who wasn't even there.
Oh yeah, where do you think we are right now?
Yeah. Yes, that. Yeah. Yes. Deanne, you've been watching Shrinking on Apple TV Plus, correct?
Shrinking, yeah.
With Harrison Ford and
another
Jason
one
Segel.
of Bill Lawrence's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got Krista. Lauren, his wife, basically, as one of the characters again. I really enjoyed her in Scrubs, so it's fun to see her now. She's got that sassy attitude, and she carried it over from Scrubs. I loved it. But yeah, go ahead. What was your question?
I didn't have a question. I just asked you about it. How is it? How many episodes? Is it,
is it done?
Is it over?
Well, yeah. It is over. Yeah, I haven't actually watched the last episode though. That was another one of those things that I lost track of. But no, I enjoy the show. I think, damn, what's his name? I always forget his name.
Harrison Ford, Jason Segel.
Not Harrison Ford. No, Jason Segel. Yes. I think his character's awesome. I really like all the stuff that I've seen him in, like the How I Met Your Mother, or the movie where had his wife left him.
Yeah, forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah, forgetting Sarah Marshall.
He forgot the name of the character in the title. Ironically enough, I said you forgot the name of the character in the title. Ironically enough,
exactly. Yeah, proper use of irony too. But yeah, no, it's a good show. It's got that Bill Lawrence signature to it that I really enjoy. I'm a mark for him, so I pretty much watch everything that comes out. But like the relationship between the characters is just enough to keep you hooked. I remember you saying that the watch, you guys didn't enjoy the show. I was actually curious to know why what they didn't like about it.
It's just, well, they mentioned like this is Harrison Ford, doing the old man thing, and he's been old for a while, and it's kind of sad to see him doing that over again, and they would rather see him just be Harrison Ford. Also, there's just like, okay, well, what's going on here? What's the story? They're saying they don't have very good chemistry together. And I think you said you watched all of it. Yeah, you watched almost all of it. So they were only talking about the first couple episodes. So I'm wondering if maybe they gave it more of a chance. If they went further into it, then they would have different views than that. Better views.
Yeah. So I mean, like when you say Harrison Ford is doing the old man thing, I mean he is an old man, yes. So that might just be something.
It'd be weird if he was doing a young man thing.
That may be something. Yeah, right. It might be something they need to overcome, because like Indiana Jones, when he's like jumping over shit, like I don't really know if he's got that anymore. That's why they're trying to move on and introduce a new character. So that makes sense. But also, like, his character has Parkinson's, I think, or something like that. Basically, he's. Yeah, so if they felt the fact that he's an old man, I mean, they're really leaning into it pretty heavy, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
and I honestly think the opposite. I think the relationship between the characters, the dialogue that they have, I think it's strong. It's witty, it's snappy. The dialogue that they have between them, and there's like they're all shrinks, and half of them are psychologists. So like, you're seeing how they talk to each other outside of being in an office. Like, they're treating each other like they're their patients almost, but they understand that they're being treated like patients. So it's like this weird dynamic that they have, but they're all like super tight. And then you obviously add in like Jason Segel. He's got a daughter that he needs to raise, but his wife is dead, and like he kind of casts her off to the side. But they're all like co-raising his daughter. And he's got to be a dad again, and I enjoy it.
Very cool. Very cool.
I don't really know too much else to say about it. You got any questions about it?
Jason Segel is an interesting guy because he does comedy, he does drama. He was in a movie where he played David Foster Wallace, so there's obviously very subdued performance there. What is he in? It's just like you said, again, it's a Bill Lawrence show, so it's a hybrid comedy drama. What kind of character is Jason Segel in this? Is he like goofy Jason Segel, dramatic Jason Segel, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, so I mean, he's both of them, because he's a psychologist, and he's struggling with his job because he's fucked up because his wife is dead. So he hasn't even fully recovered from that, but he still has to do his job and help other people deal with their problems. So it turns into him doing like a 180 and just like, all right, everything I used to do hasn't been working for my patients, so I'm going to embrace things. So he's got like this one guy who's a really funny character in it, who he ends up they end up staying at his house, and he's really taking him under his wing. He takes a different approach to things now, where it's like he's brutally honest. Like, this guy has a problem with violence. He beats the shit out of anybody that even he flies off the handle. So they're like, there's this one guy hits him on the shoulder, and he like takes him down, and he just pummeling shit. And so he's like, all right, maybe try not doing that. So next time he comes in, I beat up another person. It's like, all right, well, I thought we said we're not going to do this anymore. And like their relationship was hitting this wall. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to do something different. So he takes him to a gym and he puts on a pair of boxing gloves. He's like, go beat that guy up. So like he focuses his problem. And it turns out to be one of those things that starts working. And he's like, oh, that works. Like if I embrace the thing, their flaw, I can make that kind of work for him. And there was like this other woman that was threatening, or it's just like, oh, my husband's a piece of shit. But he's like, you're never going to leave him. Leave him. Like you want to be happy. That's how you be happy. Like you have to leave him. Which obviously this advice, kind of turns into it snowballs and like it's a very closed universe. So like, obviously there's a reason why he shouldn't be doing these things. And you find that out later on. And then Harrison Ford, who's like his mentor, is also like, oh, see, I told you so. That's why you can't do this. But he does it in his goofy, aloof way. I'm talking Jason.
Right.
His character, he's got that goofy aloofness to him. Awkward, very awkward, just this big bumbling dude, but somehow he's a psychologist, and it's working.
Yeah,
slowly.
Okay, cool. So
adorably,
yes.
adorable.
Yeah. You've watched how many episodes of Mandalorian? There's the first one. You said
one. Yeah,
one episode. Derek, how many have you seen?
I've seen all three.
Seen all three. Okay, so minor spoilers, I guess, for episode 2 and 3 for Dion, because it really isn't that much. It hasn't really progressed that much. The plot has. What do you guys think about like the series overall? Because it's the whole thing about the first 2 seasons was, Grogu is going to somewhere. He's got to be transported. He's got to be it's like the lone wolf and the cub sort of guy looking after a younger person, which is weird that Pedro Pascal is in two very popular shows about looking after a younger person, protecting a younger thing, traveling the countryside, traveling the the galaxy, transporting.
Got to catch all the orphans.
Catch all the orphans, exactly. So that was the premise of the first 2 seasons, and it's sort of like, he's saying like, what do you? People asked him during the 3rd season, like, what are you still doing with that thing? And I think I'm asking myself that same question. So, just like, what is the point of Grogu? Where is the show going? You guys think?
Yeah, I was disappointed in that. I did like, the first 2 seasons felt like they were building up to this big emotional moment where he finally got Grogu off to where he needed to be, and they had this cathartic goodbye, and then on a different TV show, he just came back, and now they're just back together again, and you're like, that whole arc, I guess, what was the point of that? So that bummed me out a little. I'm curious to see where they take it with this one. This one's been a lot more serialized, which I like serialized storytelling, but I did like, just like Poker Face, that the first couple seasons of Mando were very much like, here's this story this week, and it'll maybe introduce some characters that will play in later down the road, but it's just kind of its own standalone story. And this is much more like, all right, well, now you've got to get the Darksaber back and unite all of Mandalore. And I was like, he's just the first couple seasons, he's just some dude. And like you said, a lot of setup. This most recent episode 3, kind of felt like it took a page out of Andor's book, and it was just this slow kind of drama about fascism and the slowing creep of that, and it was focusing on these minor characters from earlier in the show. So if they continue to do different interesting stuff like that, I'm on board. So I'm kind of holding off my judgment on this season for now.
Yeah. What do you think, Dion?
I think they should have left Grogu. I think they should have moved on without him. With him there, I guess it seems pretty clear that Grogu's going to be I don't know where I'm looking for, but he's going to be like in the story now. So it's going to be like a sidekick kind of thing, like Batman Robin kind of thing. I can't see him just dropping off Grogu after they already retconned that, saying like, oh yeah, see you later, bye, that's it. And there's like, unless you watch the other half of Boba Fett, where it's just like, oh, okay, that's why Grogu's back with him. Okay, I see now.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're going to be sidekicks now, and maybe they could do something with that. Yeah. I don't know how much longer they could go with the recipe that they have. I really just wanted to see like Mandalorian kind of jumping from place to place and not having to worry about protecting a kid the entire time.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bummed to see how that's all playing out.
They need to move past that. I think they are showing him, I think Favreau talked about, he fucked up the timeline a little bit where they were originally like, yeah, he was with, Grogu was with Luke for like 2 years. And he was like, well, some years. Because they're trying to, figure out the timeline of Return of the Jedi. Because they're bumping up against, they will be bumping up against, the beginning of the New Order from the sequel trilogy, which everybody enjoyed.
Got him.
So got him, guys.
That's the best burn of Kathleen Kennedy since episode 8 of Poker Face.
So I could see them changing up the dynamic, the chemistry a little bit by having Grogu be his own independent person and be not a thing to protect, but a thing that they can use as a weapon to if they're, I could see them leading up to a big set piece battle at the end where they're trapped somewhere, they're facing down, like another like Thanos' army thing, and they could do another fucking portal entry on your left with Grogu bringing in other Yodas, bring in the Yoda army in to battle whatever, something at the end.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Well,
you want to see a Yoda army come out?
Sure.
I don't think so.
Listen, okay, well, I'll plant my flag here. I will make my prediction here. March 17th. At the end of the season, we'll see Yoda army. I'm calling it here. Calling my shot.
All right. Well, remember this moment, all right? Because like when in the future,
remind me
we gotta drop this audio clip. A Yoda army will come out. Like we gotta planting my flag. We gotta put this audio clip in that episode when the season's over.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I want to say about Mandalorian is, Deanne talked about, or I think Derek talked about, you both talked about the insertion of Mandalorian into Book of Boba Fett, the third episode, which I'm interested to hear Deanne's reception to, because they insert like a Andor-like episode into Mandalorian. So I'll be interested to know, once Deanne sees it, if that, piques his interest in seeing Andor finally. So that'd be interesting.
Right. Yeah. I saw that being talked about. That are they taking the direction of Andor? So I mean, if I do like episode 3, maybe I will actually take the time to go and watch Andor. I was actually thinking too, and tell me if this is a dumb idea. It could be. Why would you sabotage your own show? But taking Grogu, keeping him with the Mandalorian and everything, and the reception that Boba Fett got, saying that Mandalorian is what people wanted Boba Fett to be. What if it's an intentional direction for the Mandalorian to do this, make it kind of create this more boring path, being like what do you call that, like father son kind of thing. I don't know what the big bear little bear thing.
It's
but
called I just said it, the
Lone Wolf and Cub.
Lone Wolf and Cub, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yep. But so they're gonna run with that trope and do like something else, and it ultimately might make it more boring because people are looking for more action out of Mandalorian. But like maybe see the review that like that's what they wanted Boba Fett to be. Maybe Boba Fett becomes that show that Mandalorian was. Do you understand what I'm saying? Did I say that coherently?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I got it. Yeah. So
I don't know if there's like planned works for like more seasons of Boba Fett or anything, but like
I don't know. They'll have more.
Turn Boba
eventually.
Fett into what people want the Mandalorian to be.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
They're gonna bleed that well dry.
We will see. Yes. There is one thing on here I want to move to because we're running long, but I also want to hear what Derek thought of this. A couple weeks ago, I watched Skinamarink, the new viral hit on Shudder. I came out here and I was like, this is my jam. This is quiet. This is like Blair Witch in a house in the 90s from a kid's point of view. It's very atmospheric. It was very liminal spacey. It was very much my jam. So I thought that between that and seeing some trailers and some word of mouth, you might have gotten an idea of what it was. So you went into it and you're like, The fuck is this? Are you on drugs?
I knew what it was.
What did you go in thinking it was going to be? Yeah.
I had heard what it was. What you just described is something that I also enjoy. Like, movies where there's not a lot of jump scares and things are very spooky and things happen. And I went in knowing that I was either probably going to love it because of that, or I was going to really fucking hate it. Because that's not what this was, Damien. What you described is not Skinnamarink. Skinnamarink is looking at a wall for 20 fucking minutes. And then you look at a different wall. That's not even an exaggeration. That's literally the fucking movie. No, nothing happens in this movie. It is insane.
You have to. All right, let me pinch a word picture, right, of how I experienced this movie. It's probably different than yours. I don't know. Did you watch this at night first? Let me just ask you that.
Yeah, I made sure to watch this at night and late at night with the windows all closed. I put my phone away from me. I had no distraction. I just zoned in on the TV, and I was like, all right, this is the experience I'm supposed to have. Also, by the way, I'll preface this with saying I am someone who has a very difficult time falling asleep. I have to take melatonin every single night to fall asleep. I was asleep in 30 minutes watching this fucking movie.
Oh, come on.
This movie, no, that's not even, that literally happened. This movie was more effective on me than melatonin. I had to finish it the next night, I was just waiting the entire time for it to be over, for anything to happen. Because I love spooky, like, ooh, what's going to happen? You're just kind of like waiting and uneasy. But there needs to be a movie. There needs to actually be a thing that happens. Yeah, exactly. It was like, I was like, it was like it's fucking scene in Zoolander where he's like, is everyone taking crazy pills? Like nothing was happening, Damien.
Yes, I understand. So your reception of it is, it matches a lot of people on Letterboxd, a lot of people online. Like you said, people either fucking love this movie or they fucking hate it. I think there's one element of watching this movie that I don't think you had, which is I watch most things with headphones on, noise canceling headphones. You did mention the visuals of this is static. It's a wall or a stairwell or a corner of a room or a toy on the floor.
Yeah, you know what? I will say every 10 minutes when there was a noise, it got a little bit spooky. Yeah. Every 10 minutes, the 10 minutes between those, good God, man.
Yeah, but it's also not just the noise. It's like if you have the headphones on, you can hear static. You can hear, is that a void? What it does is the static and the noise and the constant distortion, the constant that sound, you start hearing things. If you have your headphones on and you have the volume up, you yourself start imagining, did I just hear something? Is there something actually there that I'm hearing? So a lot of this movie is very audio based, which I agree with. I watched a movie a couple of years ago that had a very long sequence where the picture was completely dark and you just had to use audio cues to get the sense of what was going on in the environment. That didn't work for me, but this did, because it was, that was what the whole movie was about, was putting yourself in the position of a little kid being on the floor, the camera's always on the floor, you're always in the perspective of the kid, so you're having to use a lot of auditory cues to figure out what's going on. And like I said, it was such an oppressive, staticky, just claustrophobic feeling that you start making up, you start thinking, hallucinating sounds. You're like, oh my God, did I just hear this? Was that in the movie, or am I hearing something? I thought it was really effective just auditorily.
Damien, if I watch this with headphones, I really do not think I would be like, wow, this is great now. I really...
No, maybe not.
No, I don't know. Everything you're saying, in theory, works and makes sense, but it just was so, nothing happened. This would have, if this was a 5 to 10 minute short film, I think it would have been phenomenal.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was.
Well, they should have kept it that way, because God, I was just so bored. I
understand.
Literally, this was more effective than drugs designed to put me to sleep.
Well, see, there you go. Now you can save money on the melatonin. Just put this on every night.
I guess so, man.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't have a good experience. At least it was 84 minutes, 87 minutes, something
No,
like
it was 110 minutes or something. It was an hour 40. It was an hour 40. Look it up. It's a fucking hour. It's an hour 40.
Hour 40.
And
yeah,
also,
okay. Go ahead.
That's not 87 minutes, Damien. An hour 40 is an hour. It's
it's close-ish.
No, I said 110. That's like that's okay. And also it put all the credits at the beginning of the movie, so you had to sit and watch the boring credits. You couldn't even like, oh well, it's an hour 40, but really there's 10 minutes of credits. No, you have to fucking watch all the credits too. Ugh.
I'm sorry, I didn't have a very good experience with that. What was your experience watching Shazam: Fury of the Gods?
You know, it's fine. It's basically a fun kids movie. It does get kind of cliche, like superhero cliche in the third act especially. And it's probably should have been about 90 minutes. But there's some good stuff in it, particularly the stuff with Shazam's best friend, because it's really an ensemble piece. Shazam's best friend, Freddy, who the older version of him is played by, Seth Cohen from the OC. Adam Brody, I think is his name.
Adam Brody,
yep. And then the younger version of him, played by Jack Dylan Grazer, is great. All of his scenes, like he gets paired up with Jaimin Hansu. He has a really kind of great chemistry with him and Rachel Ziegler, who is kind of really great in this movie. So yeah, it's just a fun superhero movie. Nothing amazing. But Lucy Liu is pretty good villain. Helen Mirren's great.
So did they make this movie knowing that it was pretty much going to be a reset after this, or was there like a end credits stinger that led into something else?
I think they made this before they knew it was going to happen, but there is an end credits stinger that I think is basically hedging their bets. Like, maybe we'll bring this into the new Gunverse. If it's successful, we'll see.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. I also watched Operation Fortune, one of my favorite names, one of my favorite movie names out there. Operation Fortune, Rouge de Guerre. Yeah. So this is basically just a really Guy Ritchie movie where it's just like, oh yeah, this is we'll get in here, and it's got a lot. Jason Statham's doing his thing. He's always really well utilized in a Guy Ritchie film. There's also basically in the background of this film is the unbearable weight of massive talent is like a subplot where it's just Josh Hartnett is playing a famous movie star. You're like, oh, Josh Hartnett, he's back, and that just kind of plays out in the background with him and what's his name? He was just at the Oscars talking about how his face looks like a scrotum. Hugh, what's his name? Carrie Elwes is. Thank you, Hugh Grant, and then Carrie Elwes is in it, so it's really great to see him again. So if you like Guy Ritchie stuff, this is just very, very Guy Ritchie. And if you like just gangsters talking in Cockney accents, you're gonna have a good time. What is Guy Ritchie's secret to making a movie like every 2 years? Like, do these movies make money? Are they like?
I think he's like
profitable?
an actor's director. I think what it is he's an actor's director. He's kind of like similar to like a Soderbergh, where he shoots quickly, is really good friends with a lot of these great actors, so they agree to do these movies for him at probably a low rate, so his movies don't have to make a lot of money back, so he could just make a lot of them, do quickly, do not a lot of takes, and just kind of, pump things out through the studio system for a lower budget than his competitors would do. And then every once he'll get his couple of those, and then he'll be like, all right, well, I'll go make an Aladdin for Disney to pay the bills so that I can go make a Ruse de Guerre in my free time in my basement or whatever.
Yeah, he went for a while without a movie. He did Lock, Stock, obviously, in 98, did Snatch in 2000. Then he got married to Madonna and made Swept Away and Star her. Did Revolver in 2005, Rock and Roll in 2008, then took 7 years off before he did Man from U.N.C.L.E. in 2015. And pretty much since 2015, he's been making a movie every 2 years. He did King Arthur in 2017, did Aladdin in 2019, and also The Gentleman in 2019. Apparently, that was just the screenplay by him. I think he directed that as well.
He directed The Gentleman.
Yeah, Wrath of Man, which I enjoyed very much. That was one of the best, like, what do they call it on the big pick? Trash. What was it called? Trash Action. What was it? Dan, remember I was telling you about this whole series they did about like garbage crime movies. It was like that. It was like that and 13 Bridges. What was that movie called? 27 Bridges.
The one with Chadwick.
Yeah, it was like that. It was
also 13 Bridges.
13 Bridges. Yeah, there was a bunch of them for 2015 to 2020 that they were shoving out there with, Gerard Butler was like the main guy, and the Gerard Butler and Liam Neeson in the Commuter, that shit like that were just pumping out. Yeah. So let me get to some stuff I've been watching. I watched Close was nominated for Best International Feature.
21 Bridges.
21 Bridges. Thank you. Yes. Close was nominated for Best International Feature at the Oscars just recently. This is a coming-of-age movie directed by Lucas Dont. Let's see.
Oh, of course.
Yes, of course. The well-known Danish director Lucas Dont. Let's see. Stars Eden. I'm going to try some French names here. Eden Damdreen and Gustave Dewali. Yep, those are names. Very good coming of age movie. It's 104 minutes. It's very easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. It's if you liked, this is the second movie I recommended based on if you liked Petite Maman. It's one of those, but just older kids and also boys in this one. So if you like those movies, I would highly recommend checking out Close. I believe that's streaming on all the streamers for $4 or $5. Another one that was mentioned in I think it won the Palme d'Or at the 2022 Cannes Film Festival, called Holy Spider. It's directed by Ali Abbasi. Stars Mehdi Majid. Just go to Wikipedia. I apologize. Just go to Wikipedia. Find their names on there. This is interesting because it is a movie that was based on a real life 16 murders in 2001 in Iran. It was about a detective. It was about a journalist investigating these murders in 2000 Iran. And also I watched half of the new Boston Strangler movie that's on Hulu right now, starring Keira Knightley and what's her name? One of my favorite actresses. Oh, she was one of the stars of your favorite TV show, The Leftovers.
Nora Durst is her name on the show.
Yeah, it is. What is her called?
Carrie something.
Is it Carrie?
Carrie Coon.
Thank you.
Carrie Coon.
I wanted to say Carrie Condon, but I was like, that's not right.
No. Carrie Coon and Keira Knightley are in the Boston Strangler movie that's on Hulu right now. So it's very strange that I watched two movies about stranglers back to back. But they were both very good.
Okay, Damien.
What? No, what do you think I'm doing? I'm just Googling Strangler movies. Give me Strangler content. I want to hear...
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I want women being strangled content. Please give me that. Serve me that up, please. And I also listened to the Oscar Awards by Michael Schumann. I believe I texted you this, and you're like, yeah, everybody's talking about it. All the podcasts are talking about Oscar Awards. I'll get to it eventually. Written by Michael Schumann. It basically goes through every Oscars telecast or radio presentation that's ever been. That's the only reason when Dion asked the question, was the first Oscars 10 minutes? That's why I knew that is true, because they went through that. Some interesting tidbits I picked up on this, which was Frank Capra, the director of 12 Angry Men, some of the best all-time great classic movies.
He did not direct 12 Angry Men. Excuse me, that was Sidney Lumet. He did not. It was Sidney Lumet. Frank Capra directed a lot of saccharine shit that a lot of people love that I'm not a fan of, like. It's a Wonderful Life and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and all that stuff.
Yeah, it is saccharine. It is nice. It is those movies about the small guy, the little guy.
I'm Jimmy Stewart, and I'm gonna stand up to you. It's every one of his movies.
You hate niceness. It's surprising that you like Ted Lasso, because you just don't like people being kind and nice. But it's interesting that he directed those movies that are very saccharine and very much about the small guy versus big government, about the small guy versus the big banks, because he was not as progressive as you thought he would be based on his movies. He was against unionizing. He was against the early Hollywood efforts to unionize, against Goldwyn, all those guys, the first big players in old Hollywood. He was very much against unionizing for fair wages and fair treatment and fair conditions. He was also for the blacklist, which started in the mid-40s. He was very much, anti-communist and all that shit. So it was very interesting that he made, like you said, saccharine, nice movies about
saccharine,
nice people,
but also somehow cynical. That's why I don't like his stuff. Like, Ted Lasso is not saccharine or cynical. And I don't know. Like, I know that I'm like you're not going to win anyone over. Although I don't want to sit here and shit on some of the most popular movies of all time. I get it, but they're not for me.
Yeah, that's what the internet is for, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm glad to hear that this guy sucks.
Yeah, he did. He did, in fact, suck. One guy that did not suck was Gregory Peck. I believe he was the head of the Academy for a while. Tried to bring the Academy and the Oscars into moderner times in the late 60s, early 70s when New Hollywood is coming in. Apparently, what was his name? The guy that was the bad guy in the first Speed movie. What was his name? He was an Easy Rider.
Oh, you're talking about Bowser. You're talking about
Bowser, yes.
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, I can remember Dennis Hopper. He was a fucking madman, apparently. Just violent. He was his character in Blue Velvet, just smoking ether, doing heroin, just flipping out all the time. But Gregory Peck was extremely progressive for his time. He was very much against the Un-Americans Committee in 1947. Very outspoken against that. So that was nice to see back then. It's always interesting to see, how many people were actually progressive in a time when, speaking out against, Blacklist and having, having a kiss in Star Trek, interracial kiss on there. And also, if you go back and watch a lot of the original Twilight Zone was it had messages, buried in there. There were, a lot of those were allegories for racism and homophobia and for, anti-communist behavior. If you watch that stuff and you listen to Rod Serling talk, he was extremely progressive for his time, which was interesting. And of course they get into more modern stuff. Apparently, the 1989 Hollywood Oscar fiasco was very interesting. Never heard of Alan Carr before, but apparently he was the producer on that. He was given free reign, and he did this thing where he had before the production of it, he was talking about how we're going to have this giant star of the screen that we haven't seen of in decades, and you guys are going to be so surprised when this person comes out. You know who it was? Fucking Cinderella.
Snow White.
Some
Snow White
actress. Yeah, some actress that you never heard of playing Cinderella, and apparently they got sued because
Snow White, Damien.
Snow White. Oscar's Snow White. That was very good. 1 point for you.
Thank you.
And then, of course, they get into the Harvey Weinstein of it all, where he got to start in the mid-'80s, buying up foreign movies and putting those to the Oscars. That's where he got his name. That's where he built his empire, buying up international movies and having those win every year for the Oscars. Then at the end, of course, finding Tarantino and getting him on board. And just, if you go back and look at all of his behavior back then, there was already rumors then when he started of him just assaulting people. And, of course, Gwyneth Paltrow and all of that stuff. And yeah, if you go back and actually look at like quotes from back then, you see them even making fun of it in, Seth MacFarlane was making fun of it where, okay, now that you've won your awards, you can stop pretending to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein. So people knew about it, and it was just went on for decades, and fortunately nobody did anything. And then, of course, the slap, they get into that because I think the book was written last year, but he put like an appendix on about being in the room when that happened and got into the envelope gate in 2017. So fascinating book if you're into the Oscars, as I am.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to check it out.
Yeah. Very cool book. Dion, anything else you want to talk about on here before we get to Letterboxd assignments?
Okay. I've been reading a book. It's called
what's that?
Kings of the Wild. I've been reading a book called Kings of the Wild. So basically, it's like a high fantasy book. It's funny. So you got like mercenary bands, but like they actually treat the bands as if they are a band. Like there's front men to it. Like it's just play on the word, I suppose, but like they'll go into town and they'll be like, oh, have you heard of this group, this band? They call all mercenary bands, but it's like the band Screaming Eagles or something like that. So these guys that were like really good back in their day, they're all basically parents now, or they're old, or they're fat, or they're drunks, or whatever. But for reasons, they got to get the band back together. So they got to go collect all the members that are scattered throughout different parts. But it's got like this, The dialogue to it, the writing is very humorous. It's very violent. Like I said, humorous book. That can't be understated. That's one of the biggest draws to it. Like I like the writing that doesn't take itself too seriously, and the fact that like they just, I don't know, it tickles me that they call these groups of mercenaries bands and treat them as if like
they're a band of merry men.
Groupies and everything. Like they're talking about how
band of merry men.
Yeah, something like that. Though they make fun of bards in it too, though. That's the thing. So I don't know. It's just this goofy fun that they have with it. But like one of the guys falls for like this groupie that they had, and then like he somehow becomes king. And it's just like these crazy series of events. But basically, yeah, they got to go and rescue one of their daughters, and so they got to get everybody back together. It's been a fun read. So I'm looking for. I'm about halfway through now. Nicholas Eames. It's James, but with an E instead of a J. That's the author. So yeah, fun book.
How was it?
If you like high fantasy, it might be something to check out. It's won a couple awards. It won a Reddit award too. That's actually how I ended up finding it. Like 2018.
What was the name of it?
Yeah, I think the award was called Stabby Award or something. Kings of the Wild. Wild is spelled WYLD because they have this section of the universe called Wildwood.
Oh, gotcha.
A section of the planet.
Gotcha. Yep. All right. Andy, anything else you want to talk about before we get to
fun read.
Letterboxd assignments? Okay. It's ironic that this is the only show you listen to is the ones you're on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's true. That's a good point.
All right. Let's get to the part of the show where we go to our Letterboxd watch list, and I will hit my services. So I'm sure.
Well, don't you want to talk about the one you watched last time?
I did not watch the thing I was supposed to assign to be last time. It's called Afterlife.
Kind of breezed over that one.
Yes, I did. In fact, did you watch your assignment, The Beast of War?
I did watch The Beast of War. It was interesting. It was, this is a very low budget, very underseen 1988 war film that is about the Afghan-Russo War. It's very tonally like a lot of the Vietnam War films that were coming out at the same time. Obviously, there's a lot of parallels between that and Vietnam. It kind of always gets called as Russia's Vietnam. It's just kind of a brutal, tough movie about how much war sucks, and there's no one to really root for in it. Everyone's kind of terrible. There's the trope of like the horrible commanding officer who just gets more and more insane, and it's a kind of a tough watch, but it's definitely if you've liked those Vietnam era kind of Apocalypse Now type movies, or something like what's the one with Willem Dafoe and Lawrence Fishburne and all those guys in it? It's very much the same vibe.
Platoon?
Yeah, it's very much like a Platoon or something like that.
Have you seen Come and See?
I have not.
You have not. Is it available?
I hear that's pretty brutal. It's in my watch list, so maybe it'll come up this time.
Maybe it will come up this time. So let's go to my watch list. I'll hit my services and I'll hit shuffle, and what we get is My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To.
What in the fuck is that?
Let me see. Hold on a second. It's loading. It's a horror movie from 2020. I know that. Directed by Jonathan Cortas. 89 minutes. Very quick one. Starring Patrick Fugit, who was in the film Almost Famous. He was in Babylon, apparently. Interesting. Oh yeah, he was the cop in Gone Girl. Yes. So my Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell the Two is about, synopsis is Dwight and his sister Jessie reach a crossroads over what to do about their little brother Thomas, a sickly child with a mysterious affliction. All right. So I'll be checking that out for next time. Derek, go ahead and hit shuffle on your watch list and tell me what you get.
Shuffling, and loading, and why is this in my watch list? Oh, it was suggested to me by somebody. I got Meet Me in St. Louis, the 1944 Judy Garland MGM musical. So we'll see how this goes, I guess, next week.
Yes, we will.
I'm in St. Louis. I have not had a great track record with big Broadway musicals with cities in their title on this Letterboxd Shuffle.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's do some plugging before we get out of here. I've been doing some writing up. Like I said, a couple shows ago, I was like, I need to get my writing going, to get my Medium blog going this year, which I have a couple times. Wrote about, I've written about this movie a couple times, Everything Everywhere All at Once. But in it's winning Best Picture, wrote about my experience going there last year around this time, seeing it with my mom. So that was very nice. Check that out at damien.sherman.medium.com if you want to read that or any of my other posts. Go to my Letterboxd, B for Benedetta on Letterboxd, Film Essayist on Twitter. Go to anchor.com, which is now apparently Spotify for podcasters. Go there to make a podcast. Hopefully it's still easy to do. And check out all the interviews I've done over the past year at the on the feed there. Derek, what do you got to plug?
My plug, as always, is the Underrated Podcast. It's the other podcast that I do. Episodes come out every week or every other week on the same day that this show comes out. This week we had a guest on from Cinema Jaw. We had Matt Kay on, and his pick was Drop Dead Fred, the kind of absurdist 90s very zany comedy, which was surprisingly good. I surprisingly enjoyed it a lot.
That's interesting. Still got you.
What'd you think? Yeah. What'd you think?
I've watched it. It's a movie from my childhood. My sister loved that. I thought it's so ridiculous. Words can't even. Fred, the character that plays Fred, is just what was the name he called her? Like Booger, something Booger
face, because he keeps wiping his boogers on her face.
Booger face, yeah.
Face, I don't know.
It's such a ridiculous. I can't remember like everything from it, but I do remember like particular scenes where it's just like this movie. That's funny that I thought I would never assume that I would hear that movie ever uttered again unless I grew up with you or something like that.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, check all that out. And for can I say something? I have been Damien.
I've been Derek.
I've been the 3-time Deej.
Andy.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.